Good morning. How are you? So glad to have you back. It's another Thursday. Can you believe it? So happy to have you here on the Bookstack Coffee Chat. And today I thought we could all use some encouragement. And so talking about some things like joy and good advice and different things like that. How about we jump in? So anyone who is watching live or on the replay, feel free to put in the comments, say hello, tell me what you're reading, comment about anything I'm saying. I would love for this to be a conversation. So please do join in and let me know your thoughts and suggestions, especially about the books that you're reading. So for this week, as you know, I do a lot of reading, but I'm always trying to think, well, what would anyone be interested in hearing about? And so, well, as I mentioned earlier, about joy. So I got to think about, well, what books do I have that I can bring to the table? So one is the Chicken Soup for the Soul, the Multitasking Mom's Survival Guide. So this one is a few years old, and actually that one, let me just put it up here. That one is one that I had submitted a writing sample to, and they actually included it in this book, but that's not the one I was going to share with you today. I wanted to read something about best of intentions, right? And this one is called Confessions of a Lunch Maker. And this one was written, let me see here. I don't want to take away from her, the author here. Page 35. I should have looked this up beforehand, shouldn't I? So page 35. So this was written by Kim Reynolds. Confessions of a Lunch Maker. According to my mother, my generation has it easy. She's referring to bread machines, microwave ovens, smartphones, internet banking. The list is endless, but I can stop her cold with 2 words: school lunches. Anyone else relate? When I was a kid, she made me a peanut butter and strawberry jam sandwich on white bread and tossed it in a brown paper bag with an apple. That was it. Simple, simple times. My daughter uses brown paper bags to make hand puppets. Lunch bags come with insulation, pockets, zippers, water bottles, mini ice packs, and matching thermos. Peanut butter is banned in most schools, and white bread is looked upon as a nutritional wasteland. That leaves the apple. And that's precisely what my children do, leave the apple. I can relate to that as well. Maybe you can as well. But I keep sending the apple. No mother worth her minivan sends her child to school without fresh fruit for the teacher to see. Tip: an apple can go back and forth for a couple of weeks before it bruises, rots, and needs replacement. A banana, on the other hand, has no longevity. Of course, every September I hope it will be different, and I've been in that boat as well. I approach a fresh year of lunch making with a fistful of kid-proven recipes torn from newspapers and magazines. I vow to buy breads with flax seeds and ancient grains, certain that if I use a cookie cutter to shape them like a star or a horse, the kids won't notice the lack of fluffy white dough. But within days, the sandwiches begin returning. It's important to me that all the food groups are represented, but I confess as the school year progresses, each group is open to interpretation. For example, by Christmas, I consider chocolate-covered raisins a fruit. By April, so are those rubbery fruit chews. By spring, I'm so worn out, I consider cheddar popcorn both a vegetable and a dairy product. I have one disguised vegetable trick that has yet to fail me, but it takes great commitment. The kids know it as chocolate bread. It's actually a low-fat zucchini loaf made with applesauce. Cocoa and a half cup of mini chocolate chips are its cover. The most important step is grating the zucchini so fine that it isn't visible to the naked eye when baked. I grate late at night when my children are sleeping. I shared this recipe with a friend. Her children loved it, but the late-night grating wore her down. She became careless and grated while they were still up. I think it was a cry for help. She was caught, and her kids never touched chocolate bread again. She tried to act disappointed, but I think she was secretly glad to have her life back. I soldier on. So, Mom, have a little sympathy. I may bank in my bathrobe, but at night as you sleep, I'm bleary-eyed in the kitchen, silently grating zucchini. And that story I found humorous because it was so relatable. And if any of you who have packed children's lunches for school, maybe you can relate as well. But I especially caught her reference to the chocolate bread because I had a similar experience when one of my children was much younger. And of course, I'm trying to introduce new foods. I introduced like a brown pumpernickel bread as chocolate bread. And guess what? It was received and well eaten, and he believed it was chocolate bread for years. So yeah, I enjoyed that. So what other tricks do you have about school lunches? This is important to me now too because my youngest has just returned in person to school this week, so it's back to lunch making for us and trying to come up with things that he will eat and not return, like the apple or the sandwiches. And 3 days into it, he's already, when I asked about making a sandwich this morning, he was, no, I don't want a sandwich. So any ideas and tips are welcome in the comments. So another book that I wanted to share with you is one that I hadn't picked up in a while, but it was on my bookshelf. It's Words from a Fearless Heart by Laura Ingalls Wilder. It's actually her words, but it was collected by Stephen Hines, Hines. And it's just, like I said, a collection of wit, wisdom, and whimsy. And so I thought I'd share that today because we're trying to live encouraging lives these days in these times. One of the, as you can see, they're just a bunch of just small snippets. Very quick read if that's what you like. And she says here, one of her quotes is, "Let's be cheerful. We have no more right to steal the brightness out of the day than we have to steal the purse of a stranger." And another great piece of advice that she had, where did it go? There it is. "As much good can be done by the right kind of gossip as harm by the wrong sort." Ever hear of golden gossip? A woman who was always talking about her friends and neighbors made it her business to talk of them. In fact, never said anything but good of them. She was a gossip, but it was golden gossip. And I love that. Hopefully we can introduce more of that this year in 2021. Especially as some of us have taken on New Year's resolutions to improve our lives. What better way than to encourage others than by being a golden gossip? Something else that she shared in here I just thought was interesting because she said, "No one can really welcome the first gray hair or look upon the first wrinkles as beautiful." Yeah, I don't know about you, but I've had more than my share of gray hairs cropping up. But then in another part of the book, she says, "A tea made from garden sage will darken the hair and help it grow." I wonder if that helps with grays. Maybe I should try it. Let me know if you try it. See if it works, right? So I love those tips. Love that advice. But of course, the best advice and tips always come from the Bible. And joy is spoken of in the Bible multiple times. And so I don't know if you've ever came across one of these books, but it's the Bible Promise book. There are lots of different ones out there based on the version of Bible that you want to use, whatever the cover most attracts your attention. But these are very helpful because it breaks it down by feelings or themes or topics and where you can find verses in the Bible that relate to that. So today, I thought I'd look up joy. And so, as I'd mentioned in a previous episode of this coffee chat, joy is different than happiness, right? Happiness is fleeting and can change on a dime and really is emotion-based. But joy is a gift, really, and it doesn't go away. We can tap into it at any time. So first out of this book there are a lot of verses, but I'm going to read John 15:11, and let me put that up so if you want to take note of that. John 15:11, I have told you these things. This is Jesus speaking to the disciples. I have told you these things so my joy may be in you and your joy may be full. And then down in Nehemiah, in the book of Nehemiah 8:10, do not be sad, for the joy of the Lord is your strength. Who needs strength today? I do, right? So don't be sad, for the joy of the Lord is your strength. We give it all to Jesus, and he will enable us to have the joy, his joy in us. And I'll share one more about joy, and it's in Psalm 16:11. In your presence, in the Lord's presence, is fullness of joy. At your right hand are pleasures forevermore. So, as we can see, joy is not based on what we do, but what Jesus gives us. So I wanted to encourage you. I know, especially scrolling through social media, there's a lot of negativity, a lot of sadness, a lot of people stating they're depressed, and there is sadness in the world, absolutely. But in the midst of all of our trials, in the midst of all of our struggles, and whatever situation we may be in, we can tap into the joy of Jesus. All we have to do is invite him in. So I wanted to encourage you. I'll leave you on that positive note. If you have any other verses that about joy that you love, feel free to share them in the comments. And I look forward to speaking with you next week. Bye. Have a blessed day.